Hello, and welcome to this week's Jessica Recommends. Let's see if you can just guess what I'm about to talk about. First, let's talk about what I'm reading, which I just put up on my phone because why not? I don't want to go back upstairs. I am reading The Danish Secret to Happy Kids by Helen Russell, which is a really great book so far, and she is a really great author, really fun. I loved her book, The Year of Living Danishly. And I am also listening to Tristan Strong Keeps Punching by Kwame Mbalia, which is the third book in the Tristan Strong trilogy, which is a Rick Riordan Presents book. I really have loved these, and I'm really having fun listening to the last one. I really recommend the audiobooks of them. They are super fun. I love the guy's voice that does the reading. So that's what's happening. And this is what's happening with Jessica Recommends this week. That's right, I've brought some little friends with us to talk about a certain specific type of book, and that would be, oh, I don't know, perhaps Star Wars. Because as I said last week, and I've said before, I'm a huge Dune fan. Dune was just my whole world revolved around it, book wise. But I have always been a little Star Wars girl. Way back in the day, my brother slept on Empire Strikes Back sheets, and I was so jealous. And we fought over the two blankets that they had, the two quilts. One of them is still around. One of my brothers still has one that my mom made that using the top of it is basically just a Star Wars sheet, and we all love it. And so I have always loved Star Wars. I was born just before A New Hope came out, and my parents went to see it when it came out and hated it because their friends took them to see it because I was in the hospital, very, very sick, and they thought it would be a good distraction to go see this new movie with, like, I don't know, spaceships or something. My mom just remembers sitting there the whole time being miserable, worrying that her baby was going to die. And I was fine, but we all got into Star Wars because of it, except my mom, I think, still has mixed feelings about that first one. But I don't just love the movies and the TV shows. And oh my gosh, I love the new TV shows so much. If you had told little tiny me watching Return of the Jedi over and over at my grandma's house because it was one of the VHS tapes that she had, if you had told me that when I was a grown up, there would not only be dozens of movies with tons of female characters, not just Princess Leia, who I was obsessed with and wanted to be when I grew up, but Rey and all Ahsoka and all these other characters, but that there would be TV shows that I could just watch hours and hours of Star Wars characters just doing stuff, cartoons like Rebels, and shows like Andor. Ugh, I would not have believed you. I would have died of ecstasy, but I would not have believed you. So, my Porg friend and my little Princess Leia from Galaxy's Edge are going to sit here and we're going to talk about Star Wars books, starting with the Star Wars book that has been in my family for these many generations. I think it was originally my brother Jason's, but I managed to steal the book. And yes, it still has some of the greatest working parts of any pop-up book ever. Darth Vader wins! No! The best. I managed to snag this and keep it home. So I have had, and take it home with me, I have had some of these things forever and a day. As you know, I am very fond of the movie storybooks of things. Like I've showed off my Dune storybook. Well, here's my Empire Strikes Back storybook with full color pages. Woo! And my husband and I, a few years ago, we were at Powell's City of Books in Portland, and we managed to get like an entire collection. Like we had this one, of course, we got married right before episode one came out, and we were both so into it. And so we had this, of course, but we managed to get, so we have a complete set of like the original trilogy storybooks. We have the prequel trilogy storybooks and all kinds of good stuff. And I, of course, we found this, although this may have been my husband's. I'm not 100% sure. This thing has been through it, but this is like the original, the Star Wars storybook back when they thought there might only be one movie called Star Wars, you know. Fabulous. They're so fun. They're so fun to look through. And of course, I have these. When the prequels came out, episode one was my favorite movie because I was so enthralled with the spectacle of it. Here was Star Wars that was on a higher budget. You know, even as a kid, I recognized the fact that Han Solo was basically wearing the same brand of pants that my dad wore, like polyester Wrangler slacks or something like that. I could tell. And with the labels removed, I could just tell. And so it was so cool to me to see these like high budget special effects costumes, but the costumes just got me. I loved episode one. I loved young Obi-Wan. He's so cute. I loved Padme and her costumes and her character arc. I thought was just fantastic. I've never cut out the paper dolls, of course, but I love these so much, and I'm still mad that they didn't do one for episode three. We all know why, and they were trying to keep it a big secret. And I'm like, come on, she still could have had like paper dolls come out after the fact. Just because she was pregnant doesn't mean she doesn't get a paper doll. But alas, she didn't get a paper doll. So if you ever manage to find those, they are super fun, so cool to look at. It's all her costumes from episode one to episode two. And of course, we love a good DK visual dictionary in our house. We have them for just about every little thing. I have the DK visual dictionary for King Arthur, and I will probably be showing that off in another video. But we have every movie, so it shows all the armor, who all the members of the Jedi Council were if you didn't catch their names and they never named them on the page, or what all the different aliens are and where are they from and all that lore. And I love the fact that somebody sat down and decided, okay, this is what this thing in the background was. This is the planet it came from. This is what it eats, like all that stuff. That's so fun for me as an author. So we have just a ton of these, and they are so great. They're so great as an adult fan to look through. And they are also so great if you've got kids in your life that are into Star Wars at all. It is so fun to look through all these. These are your criminal professions. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Criminal professions. These are the different things you can do if you want to be a criminal in the Star Wars universe. And these are the different people that do them. I love it. I love that kind of thing. And I think they've put so much work into this. This is a gorgeous, heavy, embossed book with all these full color pictures and stuff like that. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. We literally have like a dedicated bookshelf that is just Star Wars books. So obviously these are just going to be my favorites, and I'm not going to make you look at them all. Don't worry. But um the new stuff that's coming out though, come on, to die for. These are some of the best picture books, just the best picture books. A Jedi You Will Be by Preeti Chhibber, illustrated by Mike Diaz, is so fun, delightful, rhyming picture book, great to read, darling art. Um, it's a solid picture book. It's a solid picture book just as a read aloud, just as a little young Star Wars fan to look through and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, this one's the topper. As far as Star Wars picture books go, Are You Scared? Darth Vader by Adam Rex happens to be not just a great Star Wars book, but also a great picture book. And it's a Halloween. It's a Halloween book. You know Adam Rex if you know his other stuff, like Frankenstein Makes a Sandwich and stuff like that. You know he loves a good Halloween theme. Um, but this picture book, I debated reading the whole thing out loud. I shall not. I love to do it though. I have read it too since it came out. Every one of my youngest child, like I've taken it to his classroom and I have read it aloud to his classmates every year since it came out. And they love it every year. Like they ask me, are you coming in to read the Are You Scared Darth Vader book to us? And it has the best ending of all time. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. The art is darling. That is a paper X-wing there, my friends. It's it's a great picture book. Highly recommend. I also love the sort of the Star Wars adjacent stuff that's been coming out. My kids were really into, I've never read them though, but so I didn't use them, but like Young Jedi Academy, that are like stories about, they're kind of wimpy kid-like, but it's set at the Jedi Academy. And my oldest was super into those. My youngest was into them. Even my daughter that's in between, who doesn't get as excited about Star Wars stuff like that, she really liked them as well. But we all love We all love Jeffrey Brown's Goodnight Darth Vader because we love little comics. We love Far Side, like one-shot comics and stuff like that. And this whole book about he did Darth Vader and Son, like this whole little thing about like going to bed and stuff like that. Goodnight Darth Vader. My kids loved this one. We love the Vader family, Sithmas especially. And in fact, we've been really pleased to see that there was like merch at Disneyland last time, well, Disney World actually, last time we were there, like around Christmas and stuff like that. Like you could get, and we did get pins where like Luke and Leia are like passing a present back and forth between them. It slides on a little thing and it's a little pin. These are super fun by Jeffrey Brown, little picture books, little kind of comics, and it's sort of the ongoing adventures of the Vader family as he tries to be a single dad. And really cute, darling stuff. There's just such fun, like sort of Star Wars adjacent stuff, especially this, though. This is hands down my favorite, sort of not set in Star Wars, but about Star Wars, is The Strange Case of Origami Yoda by Tom Engelberger. Um, Wonderful. So great. These are done in the style of like an illustrated, like it's a kid's journal, kid's notebook. Um, so if you've got like Wimpy Kid fans or Dork Diaries, like that kind of thing, but it is about some kids at a middle school and their one friend who is kind of offbeat. He makes an origami Yoda for his hand that he talks through, like as a little finger puppet. And origami Yoda is very wise and gives really solid advice. And kids, even the popular kids, start coming to origami Yoda and getting advice from. And so, and it's a several book series. They go through like um Darth Paper Strikes Back is the second one. Emperor Pickletine, they put a pickle slice face on the one. And then at the end of each one, it tells you how you can make, like, here's how to make your own origami Yoda step by step. My kids got super into this. All of them can make origami Yoda. They can make origami Darth Vader. And so each one has a different thing in it that you can make. And they're just so great. The stories are great. They're really great for middle school kids or kids about to go into middle school, and really fun, and a really fun like Star Wars connection. But I love movie tie-in books. I know it's kind of weird. And of course, in that case, generally the movie is better. But for me, if I really loved a movie, it's fun for me to like sort of get to relive it in bits and pieces or like at a slower pace, like and know what the characters are thinking maybe, or just sort of be thinking about it again. So when the prequels came out, my husband and I bought each of the books before, then they released them before the movies came out. So what we would do is we would buy the book, we would wrap it like a Christmas present and set it aside. So none of us would be tempted and we wouldn't flip through and accidentally see something we shouldn't or a chapter heading. And of the three, this one was my favorite. Not the cover. This is by R.A. Salvatore. The episode one you could choose. Front and back had two different pictures. We had the one that was Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn on the back, and that's the best of the covers, in my opinion. But I really loved Attack of the Clones because it had what were either deleted scenes or maybe they just had Salvatore put in like some extra scenes just as fun for the book or something like that. But there were several deleted scenes that took place on the Lars Moisture farm. And so you actually got to see Shmi Skywalker married and happy. And it really was cool. So the beginning of this starts out with her and sort of, and it doesn't go into it, so it's not traumatic, but you know, she's kidnapped and killed in the course of this one. But it actually has a couple of scenes and it shows like Owen and Beru starting to date. And there's just a couple of little extra scenes in there that are just sort of nice family scenes that I absolutely loved. So that was really fun. That's kind of my favorite. If you're going to read like a prequel tie-in novel, this is the one I recommend. It's really great. But then now they have started with sort of like the new resurgence of Star Wars. They said all those other things back in the day, like the Courtship of Princess Leia and all those books were no longer canon, and they are producing new books that are in canon and getting fabulous authors to do them. Just they have been so great. I have been loving these so much. My friend Kate Johnston, E.K. Johnston, she has done several books, and they're usually from a woman's point of view. And I am loving that. I am loving that as a woman who has always loved Star Wars. It is so great to get this female perspective. Crimson Climb, the story of what happened to Kira in Solo, like in the time between, Han leaving her on Coruscant and then her meeting up with him again when she's working for Crimson Dawn. This is what happened to her. This book was so interesting, so fun. It is a heist book. It has like sort of an Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark um, sort of references towards the end that are really fun and very funny. And that one is great. Kate has also done a whole trilogy about my girl, my Padme, and I absolutely love these. Um, she did sort of like beginning, middle, and end of her time as queen, and it was fascinating. How did they put the handmaids together? Why did they decide to have her have body doubles as security? And who are they all? She got to name several of them and come up with their specific set of skills. All of them have like kind of a different set of skills, and you can actually tell them all apart. And she gave more of a story to the one who, of course, my brain just went blank, but that was Padme's actual body double. It was played by Keira Knightley in the first movie, if you recall. She gave her like more of a story, both like how she became her body double, but then also like a story of what happened to her afterwards, after Padme was no longer queen. Really fascinating, really fun. They all have sort of like um, like a problem that's going on like prior to the Trade Federation and stuff like that. And after, like different things that she dealt with as queen and as senator and things like that. And they're so good and so fun. And then of course, if you are a Princess Leia Han Solo stan from way back in the day, you got to have The Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Revis, which is the story of Han and Leia's wedding. You get to have her wedding dress described. You get to see them do what they did on their honeymoon, which of course is not meant in a sleazy way, because of course on their honeymoon nothing's gonna go smoothly. They're gonna run into like some other weird problem, and the empire has not yet completely gotten the memo that they have been defeated, and all that stuff is super fun. I really enjoyed that a lot. Best writing is great, and you can tell that she just absolutely loves Han and Leia, wanted them to have this happy story no matter what happens later, and their weird son and all that stuff. Again, with E.K. Johnston, Ahsoka. If you, like me, were a big fan of the Clone Wars, like the animated series, and then also Rebels, and now the new live action Ahsoka show, it is really great to see what Ahsoka was doing after she broke with Anakin and what happened to her. And this is like an event that happened to her immediately after all that from the Clone Wars. Really cool, really fun. If you are an Ahsoka fan, you must have it. Again, with the young Han and Kira. This is a prequel to the Solo movie. You find out how she got her cute little outfit she's wearing in the movie and all kinds of stuff. And it goes back and forth between both of them, and like sort of a heist and event that happens to them before the Solo movie started. Now, I have not read these next books. I am going to read these next books. My oldest son is hugely into Star Wars. He has, lightsaber, like the whole thing. And he's the one that really got us into the animated shows like Clone Wars and Rebels. He has all the things, Ezra's journal from Rebels, all that stuff. And he has a ton of the High Republic books that they are doing, which I do mean to read. And I'm like sort of letting him vet them for me, like, okay, which one should I start with? And so these are two of his that he really recommended to me, that he's like, you should definitely read these. So this is what I'm planning on reading next in my Star Wars reading is A Crash of Fate, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge by Zoraida Cordova. I love writing. I love her as a person. And then also, I love Galaxy's Edge that's at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, that is basically Star Wars land. I love to go there, love how immersive it is. I love that it has its own little story, which, if you didn't know, is that it's a ship crash on this planet. And so, like, the one restaurant, the oven is powered by part of the engine, and there's just fun things like that. And there is a distinct character named Vi, who is there on the planet. She is a rebel spy. And when you are at the parks, you can actually interact with her. She'll be running around, troopers will be looking for her, and you can help her hide. She can give you a mission. You can, and she knits. And like, I have shown her my knitting that I've got in my bag and chatted with her and stuff like that about knitting when I've been there. So I really want to read A Crash of Fate, which is the first book about Galaxy's Edge specifically. And also, I want to read Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. I couldn't read that straight on. I don't know why. Claudia Gray, this is what I have been told by both my oldest son and some other people, Kirsten White, is their favorite of the new novels, that they really love the interaction between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and this is a really great book, and Claudia Gray is a great science fiction writer, so this is what I will be reading after A Crash of Fate in my Star Wars reading, but I haven't read it yet, but it's been highly recommended to me, so I'm recommending it to you. But that is all I have for you right now. So short video this week, but you know what? That's all good. May the force be with you.